pleasant session to our fellow nursing students. We are the Group 6. We're going to discuss about medical terminologies, mainly roots or base words for skeleton, bones, and joints. Before we start the discussion about the root or base word for skeleton, bones, and joints, let us recall first the meaning of root word. Root word. Root word is the basic central construction of a medical word, refers to the main body of the word, and may be accompanied by a prefix or suffix. Do you also wonder why is it important to learn and understand the root or base word? Because it helps to prevent errors in diagnosis and treatments by ensuring that everyone involved in a patient's care understands the same information, reducing the risk of mistakes. Now that we understand the basic concept of root words, let's begin with our major objectives.
Okay, let's start with the following root-based words for bones and joints, wherein we are going to discuss the roots, meaning, and example to further understand the language of medicine.
So we have here the first word, osteo. Osteo is a combining form which means bone. An example for this is osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is a degenerative joint disease in which the tissue in the joint breaks down over time. Osteoarthritis, wherein osteo is the root word, while the suffix is arthritis, which means joint inflammation. Another example is osteoporosis, which means a bone mineral density and bone mass decreases.
There we have the root word mile, which means bone marrow and spinal cord. We have myelodysplastic syndrome and myeloid as an example. Myelodysplastic syndrome, a group of cancer in which immature blood cells in the bone marrow do not mature or become healthy blood cells. The word syndrome refers to the group of cancer, and the dysplastic contain a abnormal cell. Next, myeloid pertaining to or resembling bone marrow. Myel is the root word and the oid is the suffix, which the oid is denoting being related to something. As such, we can define the myeloid as related to bone marrow.
Here we have the chondro, means cartilage. It is a supportive connected tissue that has flexible and rubbery matrix. And because it's so flexible and rubbery, this allows it to give shape to your ear, the tip of your nose, as well as your larynx. So, it's pretty important supportive connected tissue, the cells that actually produce the matrix are called cartilage. Example of this one is chondromalacia. Chondromalacia, a degenerative joint disease in which the tissues in the joint break down over time. The next one is a chondroblast. A chondroblast is a cartilage-forming cell. Chondroblasts produce matrix, and they are really important to remember.
Arthro. A root word meaning joint, as in arthropathy and arthroscopic. Before a vowel, it becomes arthra, as in arthralgia and arthritis. One example of this is arthralgia, wherein arthra means joint and algia means pain. Therefore, arthralgia is the pain of the joints. It is a symptom rather than disease and occurs commonly in the joints of the hands, knees, and ankles. Another example is arthritis, wherein arthra meaning joint and itis meaning inflammation of. Therefore, arthritis is the inflammation of the joints in the body.
Root word synovial is the synovial fluid joints or membrane. Example, synovial membrane is the sheet around your tendon, protects the joints they surround. Your synovial membranes protect the joints they surround. They form what's called a synovial capsule around your joints. They work with your cartilage, tendons, and alignments to reduce friction between the bones in your joints, especially when you are moving.
Purse or bursa, meaning a small fluid-filled sac that acts as a cushion between a bone and other moving parts. For example, we have bursectomy. Bursectomy is a surgical procedure to remove a small fluid-filled sac within a joint when it becomes inflamed. Bursectomy, wherein burs or bursa is the root word while the suffix ectomy where it means removal of the bursa. Another example is peribursal. Peribursal is extending around a bursa, wherein peri is the prefix word while the root word bursal where it means around the bursa.
And that ends our discussion for the root or base word for joints. I hope you learned something valuable from this topic. Now, let's start with the following root or base words for skeleton, wherein we are going to discuss the root's meaning and example to further understand and relate to the language of medicine. Crani. Crani is defined as the skull or cranium. To give you an idea, the following are examples of crani. Craniometry, measurement of cranium, where crani is a combining form while the suffix metry means measurement. Another example for this is craniology. This is a scientific study of the shape and the size of the skull of different human races, where cranio is the combining form and the suffix logy means the study of or the science of.
Spondyle. An example for that is spondylolysis, which means destruction and separation of vertebrae, where spondylo is a combining form while the suffix lysis, which means destruction or dissolution. And another example for that is spondylolisthesis, meaning a forward slippage of one vertebrae, where spondylo is a combining word while the suffix listhesis meaning slip.
Verteb. Verteb means spine. It comes from the Latin word vertebra, which means spinal or joints. It is the combination form used like a prefix, meaning vertebra or vertebral. The example of the root word verteb is the spinal vertebrae that includes 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic vertebrae, and 5 lumbar vertebrae. From the root word verteb, vertebrae are the small circular bones that form the spine of a human being or animals.
So the next root word is rachio, which means spine. We have rachio-myelitis as an example, which means inflammation of the spinal cord.
For example, we have rachis means fissure of the spine, spina bifida, where the rachi is the root word and the suffix is the Jesus means cleft, split, splitting.
Here we have the coso, means spine. The spinal is the one of the most important parts of your body. An example of this one is a costal cartilage. Costal cartilage, the cartilage that connect the sternum and ends of the ribs. Its elasticity allows the chest to move in respiration. The next one is a costochondral. Costochondral pertaining to a rib and its cartilage. Costochondral, which strains your chest, are called severe coughing.
Sac or sacro meaning the part of the spinal column that is directly connected with or forms a part of the pelvis and in human consists of 5 fused vertebrae. For example, presacral. Presacral is in front of the sacrum. Presacral, wherein pre is the prefix while the root word sacral where it means in front of the sacrum. Another example is sacrodynia. Sacrodynia is a pain in the region of the sacrum, wherein sacro is the root word while the suffix word dynia where it means pain.
Cocci. Cocci means coccyx. An example for that is coccygeal, pertaining to the coccyx, where cocci is the combining form and the suffix gel means of or relating to. Another example for this is coccyectomy, where cocci is the combined form and the suffix ectomy means to remove something or to excise. Therefore, it is the removal of coccyx. Pelvio. Pelvio means pelvic. To give you a further knowledge, the following are samples using the root word pelvio. Pelvimetry, measurement of the dimension of the pelvis, where pelvi is a combining form while the suffix metry means measurement. Another example for this is pelviscope, where pelvi is a combining form while the suffix scope refers to an instrument for inspecting or viewing. Therefore, it is an endoscope for examining the pelvis.
Ilio, a combining form used in anatomy to denote connection with or relation to the ilium. We have examples here. The first one is the iliopelvic. We have there the combining form ilio and the word pelvic. Therefore, iliopelvic is pertaining to the ilium and the pelvic. Another example is the iliosacral, where ilio is our combining form which pertains to the ilium, and the other one, sacral, which pertains to the sacrum. Therefore, we have now the iliosacral as a word relating to the ilium and sacrum. So that ends our discussion. We hope that you have learned a lot in our discussion regarding the root words pertaining to the skeleton, bones, and joints. Thank you for listening and have a good day.